You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live from the studios of the Nigerian Television Authority. And of course, this morning, we're discussing admission process into tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Nuhu Yaqub, let's hear from you. You've been here for quite a while and been hearing the discussion as it unrolled. CAPS is good. It looks like it's transparent, giving the students the assurance that you are not going to be in any state of disadvantage if you come through us. The universities have been given that mandate to do the same. And but just recently, as Guti said, maybe the registrar gave some room for to correct some certain anomalies, and you find that some institutions are now being targeted at doing something illegal. And, by the JAM about University of Abuja and of course some other institutions who might not have followed this process.
I asked me this question, so Abuja, because I used to be Vice Chancellor there.
Not only that, anyway.
I don't want my former institution to be seen as if it's criminalized.
Not really, exactly.
Yeah, anyway, let me start by saying that I left university management, for some 4 years ago. And this issue of CAPS that we are talking about admission.
Okay.
But I understand that they just want to make sure that the system is streamlined and that things are properly done. I really know to what extent it became a major issue. That by 2017, the issue of CAPS came into being. But because what I knew when I was there, both here in Abuja and in Sokoto, is that, after the year release the results, students who have applied will go to, the result will go to the schools they have applied to. And the universities will, based on the parameters, one, and also the committee that is set up usually in each university to ensure that proper admission process takes place. Will now sit on the results to consider just as a Professor Babagana Guti, yes, said the criteria are there, national merit, catchment area, educationally backward, states and so on. These are criteria that were used. But I also want to at this point actually looking at this criteria, the Nigerian government or the Nigerian, this education system should be looking at, the issue of merit, or try to uplift the status of particularly science, technology, innovations programs in the universities. Because this idea of people are fighting over Islamic studies, they are fighting over religious studies or language. We should have that. And also, it is very crucial that we begin, yes, particularly when we introduce, when we put emphasis on science, technology, and initiatives, we begin to see that the criteria of, merit will actually, bring up, those who are qualified, to go into these programs. In fact, the merit should actually be on specific subjects that will help this country to develop. It's not, where you come from, which is important, but I think the emphasis being given to areas such as emergence is something that worries me now, because we've gone to the point that we really have to ask ourselves this question as in a country, what is our fate? Where are we going? How can we catch up with advanced countries? I don't think it is the issue of which state, is getting more students than the other, but which programs can actually help in advancing the course of development of this country. Having said this, I think the introduction of CAPS, is quite, is welcome. It's welcome in the sense that there is a need to actually stamp out the issue of corruption in admission process. When I was VC, I knew how we battled this thing. People even some of the people in the committee for admission,
They smuggle.
oh, they will go about selling admission to students. I couldn't believe it. This was something I had to battle, even up to the point that, you know, a member who was also a very important member of my committee, I'll not mention name, very important member, you know, in the committee, you know, will be, you know, was accused by a student. I mean, I gave 150,000 naira to this man to get me admission. And we had to set up a committee to find out exactly what happened. And what we did was to, well, in fact, actually we got advanced information that they were demanding for money. And what we did was to, you know, provide, specified, you know, and, you know, numerized, currencies to give to students to go and give, so that we actually find out, I mean, if, you know, that is what is happening. And we got to the point that, yes, we discovered that, you know, people were asking for admission. So if we can stamp out, you know, the corrupt tendencies in admission, it will help a great deal. But I think that emphasis will actually shift from national merit, you know, catchment area, and let us go for specific subjects that will actually help this country to move forward.
No, I didn't mean explain this in further detail.
Yeah.
You talked about it earlier to say specific subjects.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking of science, technology, innovations. I mean, we simply are lacking. In fact, this is, I gave this inaugural lecture, I'm sorry, not inaugural lecture, convocation lecture at IBB University in La Pay about, that's 2019, about, you know, 2 or 3 years ago. And I was actually amazed that at that point that this lecture was being, you know, delivered, the so-called elders of, I'm sorry to use this word, but the so-called elders of Adamawa State went to the National Assembly to ask that a University of Technology, Modibo Adama, University of Technology, should be converted to a conventional university. I was amazed. I was actually annoyed that, you know, at this point in time, people are thinking in terms of, oh, how do I further the, you know, understanding of Fulfulde, or, you know, Islamic studies, or Islamic studies. I mean, Christian religious studies. What we need now is actually emphasis on science. So, and because science is actually the language of today, I mean, I'm so passionate. I mean, I like the passion of the Honorable Minister of, communication and digital economy. I mean, he's so passionate about the need that, I mean, for us to actually go the technology way. And I think this is what this country needs now, instead of,
okay. In other words, you are suggesting perhaps a dual, if not triple, template for, in terms of criteria for admission, to say for specific STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
That's right.
Your merit should be, instead of a blanket 45%, probably 70%.
Exactly.
And then, probably, I'm just saying, probably 70%. Catchment area, probably 20%, and then educationally disadvantaged states, and 10%, then the remainder of 10%.
Yes.
So that it's not, because we have instances in other book of otherwise very bright students. When you hear the scores for admission into, say, medicine, into engineering, the scores are usually, top drawer. Hang on a second, top drawer. And in a number of cases, because they are unable then to gain admission into those institutions, they go for courses that they ordinarily wouldn't have gone to. And versus other courses that they are there, their scores are usually very high. That's the point you're making, Prof?
Yes.
All right, so thanks. We'll have the opportunity of getting the other guests to contribute to this.
So, Kingsley, this is a wide topic, really. We need to come back to it.
Absolutely. We have to return to it at some point. There are still a number of issues to clarify.
Many we didn't talk.
We also have to have the opportunity of speaking to candidates to just have to know how well they understand the processes, as Professor Amorogi was talking about. So, our deep appreciation to all our guests this morning. Professor Ishaq Oloyole, Registrar of JAMB, joining us via Zoom from Ilorin. Professor Babagana Guti from Maiduguri, here in the Abuja studios, former Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja and Sokoto State University, Professor Nuhu Yaqub, as well as Dr. Abdul Malik Dorunguwa, who is on the Governing Council of NOC University. recently licensed at Kachia in Kaduna State. So that's it for us today on Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you for tuning in. We're back tomorrow same time, 7 o'clock in the morning. Until then, do take care of yourself. I'm Kingsley Osado.
And I'm Mr. Nadabo. Thank you for watching.